The first guy, I won't give any names, or I'll try not to say their names. So the first guy, he seemed nice. Like he sent me the stuff I asked for. And then like we met. I knew he seemed hyper, but it wasn't like really a big issue for me that he was hyper. Which I should have picked up on it a little bit more, but I'm excited too that this is my first mobile home that I'm get to rehab, and so it was kind of like okay. So he started doing stuff, like itty little stuff, but then he started taking forever, and I'm like, what is going on? So
All right, guys, as promised, this is Kelly from Heels, Deals, and Wheels Mobile Home Investing Course, and we have Rhonda. Rhonda is a mobile home investor. She actually fixed and flipped one mobile home. And the reason why I invited her here is number one, I kind of helped Rhonda out with this deal that she had. She had some complications, and I want everybody to know that sometimes in the mobile home business, you do run into some complications. So Rhonda, number one, I would like to thank you for being on here and telling the truth about the mobile home business. And can you introduce yourself to everybody?
hello, everyone. I'm Rhonda. Like she said, I did one mobile home. I also have a full time job besides this one, but I'm really trying to make this one get off the ground and do something with it.
Okay. And so, Rhonda, how long have you been in the mobile home business?
Um, so I started when got really bad. So last year, I bought the program. Can I say the name of the program
Yeah, you can
that I
say the
bought?
name of the program. That's fine. Hmm.
Okay, so I did mobile home investing or trailer park investing. I think that's what it was called. Um, I did that program. It was good information. Had the uh, applications and things like that came with it. So it was a good program.
Okay.
So I've been in it for a little over a year.
Okay. All right. And so, can you walk us through this mobile home deal? Because number one, you and I, we live in close proximity in Texas, and you were having some complications, and I was seeing your post, and I'm like, hey, I gotta help her. So tell us what happened with this mobile home deal. Can you walk us through it?
Yeah, so this deal came from so I sent postcards out. I went around and got the different parks that I would like to work with. At first I tried to do the bandit signs and things like that and drive the parks, but I decided to send out postcards. So this deal came from a postcard. An individual, her husband had passed away, and so she had this home that she was paying a lot rent on for like over a year that she wasn't living in. So she finally came and checked the mail, and that's where she found my postcard. So she
Uh,
reached out to me. I came and I looked at the home, and the home was like, you could tell it had been sitting there with no one living in it.
okay.
But so we worked out a deal to where I bought the home for $2,000 from her. Um, that was kind of a little tricky just because she wasn't technically the owner of the home. She had to go through a lawyer. She had to because she was the estate over his estate when he died.
Okay.
So we had to actually go through the lawyer so the lawyer can look through the contract, and I had to put in there like this home is for her husband's name, but she's selling it. I had to put that in there. And so the lawyer had to look it over and things like that. So he approved it. So we finally got it sold, or she finally had it sold to me for 2,000 through the lawyer and stuff. And so that was kind of like a headache. That took a month just for that. And then after that, then the home was mine.
Okay.
Um, oh, I'm sorry. Were you
Okay.
about to say something?
No, no, go ahead. Uh-huh.
So after that, I had to clean the house out because it was so much trash in there, like a lot of trash. Some stuff I did sell, like it was a freezer in there, it was a washer and dryer in there that still worked. Different a couch. It was some stuff in there that was still I could sell. So I sold those. And then I hired a guy to come and haul out because he did that. He like haul out trash.
Mm-hmm.
So he came, cleaned it all out for me. Took a couple of hours, which was amazing because I didn't have to do it. And then uh, this is where my headache started because then I
Okay.
started going on Craigslist to find handymans. So I had them send me resumes, I had them send me pictures, things like that that you would normally do when you're trying to hire somebody.
Mm-hmm.
So me and my sister talked about it because my sister's an interior designer, so she knew how she wanted to like the paint color, the towels, things like that, and she did it really cheap. So I was kind of happy to have her in my corner. So we found a guy. The first guy, I won't give any names, or I'll try not to say their names. So the first guy, he seemed nice. Like he sent me the stuff I asked for. And then like we met. I knew he seemed hyper, but it wasn't like really a big issue for me that he was hyper. Which I should have picked up on it a little bit more. But I'm excited too that this is my first mobile home that I'm get to rehab, and so it was kind of like okay. So he started doing stuff, like little stuff, but then he started taking forever, and I'm like, what is going on? So then I would come over and he wasn't there, and so I made friends with the next door neighbors, and they would be like, well, we haven't seen him all day, and I'm like, what? So I'm meeting with him, and so I started noticing more things that okay, I think he's on drugs. So that's why I should have picked up on it earlier when he was like
Mm-hmm.
extra hyper, and I know that's not a you
Right.
shouldn't just judge people like that, which I was trying not to, but in my other profession, I should have picked up on it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay, he's doing some stuff that's not really what I like. So I fired him. Then I got another guy who came in, and this I had saved a list of all the people who was interested in doing the home, so that's why I had a list to go from. So I picked
Okay.
another guy who came in. He started working really well. Like he started putting the floors in that I asked for. He started redoing the paint job from the last guy. He was trying to fix because the last guy he tore down the whole cabinets, and I didn't ask him to do that. I didn't even ask him to do that, and so he rebuilt it. The last guy, and I'm like, okay, I didn't ask you to do that. Thank you, but I didn't ask you to do that. And so the second guy was trying to fix what he messed up because he rebuilt it, but he didn't build it right to where the drawers could fit in good.
Oh
So
boy.
that guy was trying to fix it. He was trying to fix the plumbing because he was like, I don't know what happened with the plumbing. So he was trying to fix the plumbing. He was trying to do all the stuff that I needed done. And so he was doing really well. And then again, I started noticing things from him that I'm like, something is off by him. And then I was like, okay, the plumbing, I was he told me the plumbing was fixed, but it wasn't because every time we ran the water, or it was no water actually. So I'm like, well, where's the water at? And I'm like, did you cut it off or whatever? He didn't have answers, and so he started acting really weird, not showing up, think like all stuff again, drugs. Um, so he was on drugs too. So I found that out. So I'm like, I
Mm-hmm.
had to fire him. So the third guy was like, came in and was like, I don't know who did your plumbing like this, but they actually cut the plumbing off from the bathroom. From the kitchen. There's no water going into the kitchen. It's only the bathroom. So he was like, I have to redo everything underneath the piping of the house. And I was like, okay, so that was very expensive going to Lowe's to find like all the piping, all the nuts that he need, everything that he needed to redo everything underneath when that wasn't a problem. It was a leak in there just because I did get the home after the freeze that we had, and since no
Okay.
one lived there, that's why it was a leak. So that was mainly most of my money went is the plumbing. Um, so he redid everything, and so then me, since this was like my third handyman, my mom, my sister, and myself went inside the house and we started doing it. My sister's very good and very handy. She's not a handyman, but she looks things up and was like, okay, I think I could do it. And so me and my mom just go on. So we had to redo the paint again. My sister hanging up shelves We're doing wall everything, just trying to get this
Mm.
home together. And then we started finding our stuff was missing. Like, because we would lock our stuff up in the home, like drills, um, nail guns, things like that. We would lock our
Uh-huh.
stuff in the home, and I changed the code on the door because we had a key box that had the
Mm.
key in it. So I would change the code so every time I fired someone, they couldn't get in the house. Well, our stuff started disappearing. Like all my like drills and stuff, expensive stuff started disappearing. And so we're like, what is going on? So then, of course, we start taking everything home every night because we was like, okay, I'm tired of spending money
Right.
on this. Because when I needed a nail gun right then and there, we couldn't find it. And I had to go get a nail gun. And of course, the only thing that was left was a nail gun that cost like 300 and something dollars. And I'm like, okay, I didn't want to spend that much money, but I really need it.
Right.
Um, so we will have to just replace our stuff and just take everything home at night when we leave. So I questioned that guy about it, and of course he's like, "No," he said, "I would not do that or whatever." And I'm like, "Well, my stuff is." I said, "Are you letting someone else in?" Because I'm like, "My stuff is missing." Of course, he was like, deny it. So I I really don't know who stole it, but who knows? But so
Mm.
he ended up finishing the job for the plumbing. So I'm like, okay. He said, well, just let they have like the plumber's glue or something. So he's like, just let it dry before you turn the water on. Um, give it a couple hours. So I said, okay, cool. So he left. So then that's when you had recommend this other guy because another guy, my fourth guy, um, messed up the electric. Um, the AC all of a sudden went out, wasn't working. And then by then the plumbing, when I was running water, we didn't have no water or anything. So that's when you
Mm.
recommend that guy. And in between that guy, I had my cousin come over. He's a handyman, but he can only do so much because he was so busy with other jobs. So he helped finish the towel. And then I had one of my friends who's very handy. He's not a handyman. That's not what he do, but he just knows how to look up stuff and do it. So he came in and was like, I've never done carpet before, but I'm gonna try. He is not,
Mm.
he doesn't do that, but I mean, at least he got it laid down. That's not what he does, but at least he got it laid down. I'm like,
Right.
thank
Right.
you. I don't even, whatever. And so then your guy came in and he was like, the reason why the plumbing's not working is because one, the plumbing underneath is still not fixed, it still leaks. And then two, whoever did the towel, not my cousin, because I had another guy come in. I guess I had seven handymans. I forgot about him. So I had
Wow.
another guy that came in and did the
Uh,
towel work, but he just never finished it. I don't know why. So my cousin just went in and put two more little things in there with the towel, but the guy who did the towel work didn't cover the bathtub hole. So he put when he was doing it, the grout was going down into the bathtub. So it
mm.
hardened, and so the water wouldn't go through. So that's why the water wouldn't, drain.
Wow.
So your guy came in, fixed the electric like that, like real easy. And he had to redo the plumbing because it was still leaking underneath. And he did that. I don't know how he did it that fast, but he did it in like a day and a half. And I was like, thank you, because I had got people to move in like that Saturday, and your guy came in and finished it like Saturday, like at 2 o'clock, and they was moving in like at 4. So it was
Right.
like, and I had got a AC guy come in to fix the AC. So all that was, thank God, the only thing that was wrong with the AC was that it just needed it's just had been sitting there, didn't have antifreeze in it.
Okay.
So he just did that. So that's why it cost me so much money with the handymans because they was
Wow. That
I was
sounds
like,
like sounds like a real nightmare. So let's do a little backtracking. So you had seven handymen all together. Finally, the guy I recommended, he was able to help you. So that's a
right,
blessing. But
right,
in the beginning, Rhonda, we had a conversation where you didn't really talk to the park manager that well
okay,
regarding.
yes, the
Uh-huh.
park manager. So, in the program I learned from, that's how I met you through that.
Right.
So it said to go to the park manager, let them know what you're doing and all this stuff. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do what they tell me to do. So the lady I bought it from, she told them what I was doing. I went up there. They was like, yeah, just get the application. I'm like, okay. And I went up there and said, so y'all know that I'm just buying it from her to sell it. And they was like, no, you can't do that. Either because the lady had paid it up, since she was paying it monthly, she had paid it up. Even though she sold it to me, I still had a month before I was gonna take over payments because that's how much she had paid up over it.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, that's fine. I'll if it's not done, I'll take over the payments or whatever. And so, but they was like, no, either you're gonna live here or you're gonna have to move the mobile home because we're gonna run you and you got to get approved or whatever. So you got until this month is up to figure out what you're gonna do. And I was like, and what made me mad was because like when I was talking to the a lady, and this lady from way in the back because it was during COVID season, so I didn't go. We couldn't go in the office, so I was talking to
Right.
her at the door. So she screams, "You can't do that!" And I'm like, "Who is that? Who? Why is she talking to me like that?" And so then she
Exactly.
comes around the corner. I'm like, "Man, why are you screaming at me?" And so I'm looking at her crazy, like, "Okay, you're not being professional, screaming at me like that." And so she's like, "Well, I was just letting you know." I'm like, "Well, you could have did it more professionally than screaming from the back at me or whatever."
Hmm.
And so then from then on, then it was like a whole issue. They like I had people was like, "Oh, I want to pay cash," and so they'll go and they was like, "Oh, they're not approved." And I'm like, "So are y'all really not? So y'all are they really not being approved because of their situation, or is it because of me?" And so
Exactly.
I really didn't know what the issue was, but they kept on. And so then I finally found a couple. At first, they got denied. And
Hmm.
then they went in and put it again with both of them because it was just one. So then they was like, well, I guess you got someone approved. And I'm like, well, thank you or whatever. So I had to rush on that because I wanted to sell it more, but I was so nervous that I was not going to get a buyer and time was
Right.
ticking. And
Right.
so I was posting pictures when it was like gutted and people would come by and I'm like, look, like you can see what's going in there. It's gonna get finished. So, you know,
Right.
and I don't know,
Right.
everybody who came, I was kind of shocked because they didn't care that it was gutted. They saw the potential. So
Right.
a lot of people was like, yeah, we want it. So I was like,
Right.
oh, okay, like that. So
Right.
that was a blessing that they wanted it even before it was
Right.
finished. So yeah.
And then Rhonda, I had told you after I found out you and the park manager didn't have a good report. I said, Rhonda, get rid of that home. You told me, oh Kelly, I already got the flooring. I said, leave the flooring in the corner and tell the new buyer it comes with flooring. It's over there in the corner. You can put it in yourself because I told you she's gonna want you to move that house, and sure enough, she wanted you to move it at one point, didn't she? So,
Yep.
guys, if you don't learn nothing from Rhonda, y'all better have a good rapport with that manager because it sounds like she was blocking people that was trying to buy that mobile home as well. Correct?
Yep. Yep.
So you got to have a good rapport with that park manager. That's key. So Rhonda, your story is like really amazing. But what I wanted to get back to, so we talked about the park manager. What size was that mobile home? What, it was 3 bedroom, 2 bath, or
No, it was a two bath. I mean, it was a two bedroom, one bath. It was a
okay,
small home. I'm trying to
okay.
remember the square footage. Let's see
Well,
if I
that
have
that's
it.
okay. That's okay. And so, can you get back to the postcards part of it? So you found this home through postcards. So you just randomly just sent it out to the whole park, or how did you do it?
So what I did was after, like I said, I was driving around looking for homes, and so I
Okay.
would write down what park was nice that I was willing to work in, and so I work full time and I work a lot of overtime. So I was like, okay, I don't have time. I'm losing out on money working overtime for me driving around these parks. So I thought, okay, let's do postcards. So all the homes that I had already written, all the parks that I had already written down, I reached out to this company that find addresses for you, and they was pretty reasonable. Direct something, I forgot their name, but they was reasonable. So he found me all the addresses that I needed. It was almost 5,000 addresses, and then I went to Postcard Mania, and so they came up with a postcard design. They even do websites. So they I already had a website that I already had. So they just took my website and fixed it, made it look really nice.
Okay.
And so then I gave them the addresses, and then they sent it out for me. And they broke it up too, so I wouldn't have to pay all that at once. I did
Okay.
mine every month. I told them to send out 1,000 every month. So every month they sent out 1,000. They charged me, and it went to their homes. I want to do the postcard thing again because I think it really would have worked better outside of COVID. Because like I said, I started during COVID season,
Okay.
and when I started during COVID season, a lot of people would call me, but they told me up front like we're scared to move right now, and so they
Hmm.
was like I was like, well, keep my card just in case you are whenever you're ready. So I want to send the postcards out again now that COVID is kind of, well, I don't know. COVID is kind of it started to
Right.
go away. Now it's starting to come back, but
Right.
I
Right.
want to do the postcard thing again.
Okay. And so, Rhonda, when we originally talked, you purchased that mobile home for $2,000, and you were right at 800% return on your money. And you're like nowhere near that now, with all the
No,
expenses and all that kind of stuff, which is sad, but it's a learning experience. Could you give us like a ballpark figure about how much return? Because you say you're nowhere near the 800% anymore.
no, not anymore. So I'm around $8,500 return. Um,
Uh,
and that's probably a little less because I still haven't added some more stuff that came in you know, after the mobile home
mhm.
was sold. But like as far as paying the taxes, which that was a whole headache on trying to do that. It was a lot of back and forth on getting the home switched in my name, because the guy before me, he didn't pay taxes on his home because he was in the military.
Okay.
So it was trying to find, especially because he had passed away. So finding his ex-wife had did a lot of work on this, which was thankful for her getting the paperwork in. But yeah, that came in after I actually sold it to someone else. So yeah.
Mm. So a ballpark idea, you spent 2,000, and how much would you say you
Mhm.
spent on the rehab?
Over 10,000, probably like 13,000.
13,000.
Um, I, I say about 10,000 just because I know it was 13,000 when I was adding up everything, but then the homeowners had sent a $3,000 deposit, so I was like, okay, about 10,000. Um, but like I said, I didn't finish adding up everything,
Yeah.
so
So in a nutshell, let's just say you spent, let's say, 2,000 for the home and another 10 for the repair. So you're out 12. So you're still expecting a profit of $8,500. Okay.
right.
So that's not nowhere near the 800,000 return that we thought you were going to get. And Rhonda, I appreciate you coming out here and telling the truth about what happened to you, because a lot of people acting like it's all glitz and glamour, and I don't want people to think that sometimes we do run into some situations. Unfortunately, you had some handyman from hell. So
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
so Rhonda, are you still interested in mobile home investing after all this?
Yes, at first I was done. I was like, I'm not doing this again. But my mom and my sister, they was like, no, you should really try it again. They told me to keep the guy that you told me about. It's like keep his information, so when you do it again, you could just call him. And he was even saying like, don't give up on it, don't give up on it. And I was like,
Right.
I don't know, like that. So I'm interested in it, but because this one I wasn't expecting to spend that much money. I'm kind of in a hole now,
Right.
because they're making payments on their home. They didn't do cash offer. So I'm kind of in a hole right now to try to go out and get another one. But I
Mhm.
said, like, once I pay this down and then save a little bit more, because I thought I had enough saved for it. Well, doing my calculations of what I want to spend, and I even added extra to it. Then I was like, okay, now I know I need to add extra to it to
Right.
really not be in a hold.
Right,
So
right, right, right. And Rhonda, what I teach my students, even before you get into the deal, you know, the goal is to get 100% return on our investment. In your situation, you was getting 800%. So there was no way I thought you was going to get anything less than that. Even if it was going to be less, I thought it was still going to be a large percentage. And so I teach my students, before you even get in the deal, no, hey, if I need a new AC, then this is going to be my percent, or this is going to be my percent, or I can't afford any this kind of flooring and things of that nature. I teach people how to do that. So Rhonda, what words of encouragement do you have for somebody trying to get into this business?
I say go ahead before you. This is just me personally. I think before you even start, go ahead and get you a team together. As far as like plumber, if you're gonna use a handyman to do everything, like go ahead and vet those people way early before you even start, so you won't be like just randomly picking people and you don't really know their work is good. Yeah, they send you references and pictures, but to be honest, now I know, I'm like, were those pictures from your work or did you just steal somebody's pictures? And of course, like, and we all know references. Like, when I'm getting a job, I'm gonna pick someone who's gonna talk good about me. So
Right,
I say go ahead and pick your person early. Have your team of people that you want to have before you even start. So then when you finally get it, you already have a team that you trust that will go in there and get the work done.
right. And you know what, Rhonda, speaking of pictures, I was about to hire a handyman, and he showed me a picture from like Google Images. And I said, sir, it says biggest day. It's from Google Images. Are you kidding me? Are you showing me somebody else's work? So you're right. You have to be careful with these people. So Rhonda, I appreciate you telling us what happened. So what could you have done differently with the park manager side of it? Because you already said the handyman side. You should have gotten the team together first. What about the park manager side of it? What could you have done differently?
Um, I think, well, I didn't know this until after I talked to you. So I like the idea of just pretty much sending a letter saying, I am now the owner of the home. Here's like 2 months lot rent. You
Right,
will have another buyer in your home shortly, or whatever,
right,
things like that. Like that idea, then trying to talk to them about the home or whatever, because
right.
they do not listen. They don't care. So,
Right, right, right. Yeah, and I only recommend that strategy if you don't plan to do any more business in that park. To just go ahead and send them a letter. I'm the new owner. I'm going to find you a buyer. Here's your lot rent, and call it a day. But I always try to build a rapport with that manager, especially if I plan on doing business in that park again. Do you think they would allow you to do business there again, Rhonda, or is that a wrap?
that's probably a wrap.
Okay, all right. Was it a large park or?
No, it wasn't large. No,
Okay,
I don't know how many homes they had, but it was like one way in, one way out. It wasn't a
okay.
large park.
Okay, and so what would you say, like 5 star, 4 star? What star park would you say that was?
Um, it had to been like a 3.5. I give it a half on that.
Okay. Did they have any amenities?
No,
Playground?
they had like a little playground, and then they had another little play, but it wasn't even. I don't even think it was part of theirs. It was across the street. Um,
Okay.
that they was like, oh, we can do that, but they didn't have like a pool or anything like that.
Okay. All right. I'm trying to think of any other questions that I might have. I mean, this is just an interesting story, and I think it's going to help other students, especially people who are afraid to talk to the park manager. If you don't talk to them, man, they're going to make your life real miserable, and that's not what you're trying to
Right,
do. So you got your
right.
tenants now on payments. So how
Yes.
much are you going to be cash flowing a month on that particular mobile home?
348.
Okay, 348, and then that lot rent is how much?
Their lot rent is for, uh, goodness, I can't remember. For something, I can't remember.
Well, okay. And so that 348, you're gonna be collecting that for how many years?
5 years. But
Five
they
years.
want to
Okay.
start paying more. They want to pay
Okay.
more to try to pay it off early. So I gave
Okay.
them, because So because I had so many problems with the handyman, thank God they was okay with it. They was late moving in, so I
Okay.
gave them a month free. So they didn't make their first payment till July because I was like, that's just not fair that they have to pay when I'm late moving them in
Right.
because we was having problems. So I gave them a month free, and that's why their first payment started in July.
Right. 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 And so, Rhonda, I'm not going to tell everybody what your profession is, but you have a very noble profession. And I believe you said you even went in the park one time with your uniform on, and they still was trying to give you a hard time. And so, guys, if she can go in there with her uniform on and they still give her a hard time to go, could you imagine somebody who's not in that profession? They really gonna give y'all a hard time to go. So you have to. The park manager, they just don't. Excuse my French. They don't give a damn. They really don't. So you better build a rapport with them. That's very, very important. So Rhonda, do you have any final words? We appreciate you coming on here and telling your story. It's it's unfortunate, but at least you are going to be getting some money out of this deal. Any final words you want to share?
All I can say is if you do have something, hopefully it's not as bad as mine. But if you do have stuff and you're going through issues, learn from them, write them down, just so you know, like, okay, what not to do the next time. So
Mm,
that's what I can tell everybody.
okay. All right, guys, there you have it. There's Rhonda, and that was our interview with Rhonda from Heels, Deals, and Wills Mobile Home Investing Course, and she told us, guys, how things really didn't work out with this particular mobile home. And I've already showed the video, Rhonda, of your mobile home. It turned out beautiful. It really did.
Thank you.
I didn't see what the before. I think I did see the before. Yeah, you showed me some before pictures. And if you could show us those before pictures, send them to me. I would like to share them with the students because I mean, it really came out really, really nice after
Yeah,
everything was said and done.
I have a
Yeah.
before video, and it's a short video, so I'll show that.
Uh,
I'll send it to you.
all right. Okay, Ronnie, you have a good day. We appreciate you. And go ahead and send me your email address, okay?
Okay, thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.